Hey guys! Happy New Year! Today we're going to be making a Corgi inspired miniature puppy, so I really hope you'll enjoy. Let's get started! As always, you want to begin by making an armature, and then the eyes I use are made the same way as in my eyeball cane tutorial, which you can find on my channel. If you haven't seen any of my animal tutorials before, I do recommend checking out some of my first ones, especially my Saint Bernard, as that one has the most information. In these newer ones I do skip some of the steps just because the process is the same every single time, so definitely check out some of the older ones if you're not sure how to make these. For this one I didn't add any tinfoil to the head as I do with most of the animals I make, just because the head is so small, so it's going to be more in the way than it's going to be a help. Because this puppy is going to be kind of fluffy, you don't need to add a lot of detail to the sculpture itself, just focus most of the detail around the nose and snout area and then the eyes. With dog breeds like this one, I think one of the most tricky parts is getting the size of the ears just right, just because part of them are going to be covered by the fur, so you have to make them quite a bit bigger than what you think you're going to need. After sculpting the head, I added some liquid clay to the back of the ears just to strengthen them, and then I pre-baked. If you have any questions about baking or pre-baking, I do have a video about it on my channel. After pre-baking, I added clay to the body, then pre-baked again and added clay to the legs and paws. I pre-baked one more time before adding the clay to the thighs and tail, and then I baked one last time. And as for the tail, it's really up to you if you want to make the bob style tail or the long tail. Because I was going to use white fur for the entire sculpture, I painted the base using white acrylic paint to match. For the fur, I'm going to be using cruelty-free Angora. If you have any questions about the fur I use, where I get it, the glue I use to attach it, etc., please check out the basics video I have for it on my channel. I always begin by adding the fur to the hind legs and butt area, then let the glue dry before trimming it. I do get quite a few questions about how long it takes to add the fur and how long the drying time is. It really does depend on the glue you're using and how much glue you're adding. Only add a tiny bit and it shouldn't take too long. But adding the fur is, in my experience, the most time-consuming part of making these animals. Another question I get quite a lot is if they're poseable. I purposely don't make my animals poseable because I don't want any visible joints. If you do want to make a poseable version, you can simply follow the techniques I use in my poseable doll tutorials and just leave part of the wire exposed. I usually do that for the tails. Obviously I can't do that for this one, but I do usually make the tails poseable. For the nose or snout, as well as the back of the ears and part of the legs and paws, I use flocking powder, which again is just the same fiber you use for the rest, but cut into really tiny pieces. Then for the shading, I first use soft pastel. I applied the base color with a dry brush, and then you'll see some more fine details which I applied with a damp brush. I then went in with white and black acrylic paint. I used the black around the nose and eyes, and then for the white, I used it to pull out some highlights. And then I also used the black for the paws. Seal it with a fixative to protect the pastel, and you're done.